Hello and welcome. I'm going to take you step by step through how to make a game using Scratch. The game, you'll be welcomed and asked your name, then the game will welcome you by name. You must correctly guess a randomly generated number from 1 to 5. If you guess the number right, you get 1 point. If you guess wrong, 1 point is counted in the wrong score. The game should repeat forever. The programming concepts covered will be variables, that's a place to store information. Input, that's user input, for example, their name or the score they're guessing. We're going to be using structures such as if-else statements. We're going to use a loop. We're going to join strings of information like the name and welcoming messages together. That's called concatenating. We're going to have user input, strings, and numbers. So strings are information such as names, letters, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, that sort of thing. And numbers are just numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or much larger. So I'm going to show you a game that I've prepared earlier. So this is a little sprite. That's Felix, I can move him around. Over here is the coding on the right hand side of the screen is the coding to make this game. So here's the game. If I click the green flag, he says hello and asks me what's my name. So I'm going to type my name. And I can either push enter or click the tick. And then it says hello John. It tells me to guess a number between 1 and 5. So if I guess 1, push enter, and it says sorry you are wrong. Guess a number between 1 and 5. On the left of the screen, I have the variables that are visible. So I actually know what the right answer is. The randomly generated number is 3. So if I guess 3, push enter, it says well done. And this will just keep going. And if I guess 3 again, sorry you're wrong. Now it's gone back to 3 again, well done. Now it's 2, so if I guess 2, well done. Guess a number between 1 and 5. Guess 1. Sorry, you're wrong. And if I'm finishing the game, I click stop. So that's the main part of the game. I'm going to show you how to, firstly I'll save this game and I'm going to start a new one. So I'm going to do step by step how to code this game. So in the middle there are scripts, and so motion describes how you'd move a little sprite around. Looks does various things like, for example, says hello for 2 seconds. Sounds, I can make it do things like play the sound meow. Now what you'll notice is as I bring these two parts together, when I bring one up next to the other, there's a little white space underneath the top line of code. If I let go now, they will snap together. This is Scratch asking me, do I want to join these two parts together? So if I take my finger off the mouse, they'll snap together. I've got various other things that I can do. We're going to be looking quite a bit in this data part. Events, we need one of these at the beginning to start the game. So when the green flag over here is clicked, that's an event. When I drag it down, you'll notice a white outline asking me, do I want this to snap together? I do. So if I let it go, they'll snap together. So if I show you what this does now, click the green flag, it'll say meow and then say hello for 2 seconds. And that's all there is so far. I can move these things around and put them over here for later. If I click the green flag now, there'll be no meowing and there'll be no sound because they're not connected. So I need a place to store data. So I'm going to click data and I'm going to create a variable or make a variable. So I've got a few that I need to create. So each time I'm going to click make a variable and I'm going to write down the name. The names must be meaningful. So the minimum number, okay, and I'm going to set that minimum number. So over here I'm grabbing set minimum number and that's going to be 1. Make a new variable. Maximum number. and I'm going to also set maximum number to, I'm going to get 5. Now I can change between variable names that I have created, minimum number and maximum number. I also need a place to store my scores. Make a variable. Player player's score. Now in the beginning, the player's score starts at 0. Make another variable for wrong score. That's going to store how many wrong answers the person has. And at the beginning, it's going to be 0. So to recap, minimum number is 1, maximum number is 5. The player's score starts at 0 and the correct scores and the wrong score start at 0. Now we're going to have our hello message. I don't want it to say meow, so I'm going to get rid of it. I just drag over here and let go, and it disappears. So it says hello for 2 seconds. Then it's going to ask the user what's the person's name. I'm going to use these 2 parts here. This is sensing. It asks what's your name and it waits. And the answer can be gathered from this part. So it asks what's your name. I'm going to use this answer. So I'm going to go back to data and make a new variable, and this is going to be player's name. I'm going to set the player's name to the answer provided. Now I'm going to drag this part in. You'll notice it highlights white. It's asking me, do I want to put the answer right there? And I do. So it's going to set the variable called player's name to the answer provided by the player. Then I'm going to have it say to me, go back to looks, I'm going to say, now the default is hello for 2 seconds, but I don't want it to say hello. I want it to say hello John. Now I need to join together the word hello, that's a string called hello, and the answer saved in the variable called player's name. So I'm going to come to operators. Down here I'm going to use join, and I can use as many of these as I like. To begin with, it's got hello world. I'm going to put that in here, and this was going to say, oops, daisy, wrong place. It's going to say hello world for 10 seconds at the moment. I'm going to change that to 2. And I'm also going to change it, instead of being hello world, to hello player's name. After that, we need to generate the answer, generate the random number. So I'm now going to set the last variable I named was called player's name. And I've still got minimum number, maximum number, player's score, wrong score, and player's name. I need to make a variable for the random number. So I'm going to set this variable called random number. Now random number has now been added to my list of variables. I'm going to set this random number to an actual random number. I'm coming to operators. I'm going to pick a random number. At the moment it's between 1 and 10, but I'm going to have that be between this minimum and this maximum. So coming back to minimum number and maximum number. Now my code is a little bit wide. I'm going to scroll across using this scroll bar at the bottom, just across a little bit so I can see all my code. So this is setting a random number to between 1 and 5. Then I'm going to say, using sensing, ask to guess a number between, now I'm going to have to join some parts together again here. I'm going to have to use a few of these. So I'm going to put a few spares over here. I'm going to say, guess a number between, between from, leave a space after from, put that in here, from, and that's going to be my minimum number right there. Minimum number. And I'm going to put another join right here. And in the middle here, I'm going to go space and space. Remember to put the spaces before and after and, otherwise there won't be any spaces between the minimum number and the maximum number. It says, ask, guess a number from, leave a space, minimum number, which is 1, and maximum number, which is 5. And then we need its answer. We're going to set, not random number, remember that's the last variable we used. It's going to be player's answer. And we haven't got one of those yet, so I need to make a new one, make a variable. Player's answer. Go OK. So now I have player's answer in my variable list. So the player's answer is going to be set to whatever the player actually said. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use control structure, if else. This is going to ask a Boolean question in this six-sided shape right here. It's going to ask, is the player's answer equal to the random number? Is the player's answer, didn't get it in the right place. Is the player's answer equal to the random number? And if it is, then we need to say, well done. So we can say, not hello, but say, well done, good guess. And if they get it wrong, it's going to say, sorry, you were wrong. Guess again. Actually, sorry, you were wrong. That'll do. We need to add 1 to each of the scores. So again, coming back to data. Now we're going to change, not player's answer, but change player's score by 1. It started out at 0. Now it's going to go up by 1. I'm also going to give the option down here, if they got it wrong, to change the wrong score by 1. If I do this, it'll work once. So let's try it out. Hello. What's your name? John. It says, hello, John. Guess a number between 1 and 5. And over here on the left, it's still showing me the values of each variable. So it's seeing what my name is. The random number is 3. So if I just type 3, push enter, it says, well done, good guess. That's the end of my game. If I play it again, it says, hello, what's your name? I'm going to use a different name, Fred. You'll see that the player's name has changed. Guess a number between 1 and 5. The random number is 1. I'm going to guess wrong on purpose, so I'm going to guess 5. And it says, sorry, you are wrong. So I can see that my if-else statement works correctly. If I guess correctly, it says well done, and it adds 1 to the score. If I'm wrong, it says, sorry, you are wrong, it adds 1 to the wrong score, which I can see over here, wrong score. I want this game to play forever, so I'm going to go to control. I'm going to use one of these repeat loops. I could repeat for as many times as I like, or I could repeat forever. I could repeat using a condition. So repeat until some kind of condition is true. To begin with, let's go with repeat forever. Some parts don't need to be repeated. For example, it doesn't need to ask what's my name every time. But it does need to keep asking me to guess a random number. So I'm going to drag it in and include this part here. So now we can see this repeat loop is surrounding the instructions for asking guess a number from the minimum number to the maximum number. and then it's setting the player's answer and then checking, are they equal? So let's try that out. Hello, what's your name? John. Let's change the player name back to John. Guess number between 1 and 5. The random number is 1, so I'm going to guess that. Well done. Now it's going to go back and ask me to do it again. I don't have to click the green flag. It's repeating forever. That's all I planned to show you in this video. There are many other improvements you can make to this game. For example, we could play around with repeat until. We could use an operator, and we could do things like waiting until a certain score is at a predetermined level. And once that happens, it could be game over if you've had too many wrong guesses. The only limit is your creativity. Best of luck, and I hope you enjoyed this video.